Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Ina alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our hadith class. And this is the hadith class, whereas we are studying the hadiths taken from the book entitled Once Upon a Time. And this is a book compiled by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. For those of you who have not picked up your copy of this book yet, please go to his website, Atli Online, and order yours today. We're almost at the end of this book. We have maybe several more hadiths left in this collection. The book itself is only $8. So again, make sure that if you haven't purchased this book yet, go to his website, atlionline.com. You guys see that, www.atlionline.com, and purchase your copy today. And today we're going to speak about one of my favorite hadiths that you guys have heard me mention a lot over the years, because this hadith is a hadith that gives us hope. And it's also a hadith that teaches us to never be too sure of yourself. And let's take a look at the hadith. And this hadith, the source of this hadith is Abu Dawood. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there were once two men amongst the children of Israel, and both of them were striving for the same goal. However, one of them would commit sin, and the other one would strive his best in the world without committing sin. The one who strived himself the most in worship, he used to watch his brother in faith fall into sin. And he would say, stop committing sins. And then the person would ignore him and do something else wrong. And he'd again say, stop committing sins. The person would ignore him and continue. He would say, leave me alone. You are not my guardian. Who are you? Did Allah make you the guardian over me? And so one day, the righteous man said, I swear by Allah, Allah will never forgive you, nor will he allow you into paradise, because all you do is commit sin after sin after sin. Allah decided to take both of their souls. So he had the angel of death go and collect their souls. And after collecting their souls, Allah had the angel of death bring their souls before him. Allah looked at the man who lived his life on earth striving hard in worship. And he said to him, did you have knowledge about me? Or did you have power over me? He said, did you know me enough where you can say who I would put in hell and who I will put in paradise? So to teach the man a lesson, Allah looked at the bad man, the man who never did anything good. And he said, I want you to go and enter paradise through my mercy. And then he looked at the man who swore by Allah that that person would never go to paradise and said, as for you, get ye in the hellfire now. So the lesson here is never, ever, ever be arrogant enough. I don't care how much you pray, how much you worship, how much good you do. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad said, your good deeds are not enough to get you in paradise. You can do all the good deeds in the world, but in order to enter paradise, you have to also earn the love and mercy of Allah. Without having earned the love and mercy of Allah, you will never enter paradise. He said, not even me. So never be so arrogant that you think that, oh, I spent a lot of time praying, I never commit sins, I know I'm going to paradise. Because to know what only Allah knows, to think you know what Allah knows, that means that you have a component of shaitan about you. And that component is arrogance. And arrogance is a sin of disbelief. And that's why Allah threw that man in hell. And as far as the sins we commit, we have to understand that Allah's mercy supersedes his punishment. As long as a person dies sincerely believing in Allah and not associating partners with him, Allah will forgive you of anything. Just because you truly believed in him and you never, ever, ever associated with him. And that's why he forgave the bad man and allowed him into paradise. So arrogance, guys. Arrogance is a sickness that many of us suffer with. It sneaks up on you and it can cancel out all the good that you've done. And whatever good you do, it means nothing if you have not earned Allah's love. So what do you guys think of this wonderful hadith? It's just one of my favorite hadiths. Anyone? Go ahead, Sahara.
I was gonna say this hadith reminds me of like certain people who like, they act religious and then they shame others. And I always think why are you shaming them? That they probably just never probably grew up with a parent who raised them, taught them Islam or anything. You should be helping them instead of shaming them. We should be enjoining the good and forbidding the evil and try to teach our brothers and sisters the right way, because maybe they don't know. They probably don't. They parents probably were really lenient on them and didn't teach them about Islam. If you teach them, that'll be a good deed on your end, and you can really help them too instead of shaming your brother and sister.
Exactly. And this is why we have to be careful of this. You want to sit there and tell, oh, you going to hell. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? What guarantee you got that you're going to be in just because you pray? Just because you give in charity? Who gave you knowledge of what Allah is going to do? Allah is more merciful and forgiving than anything else. SubhanAllah. Good job. Anyone else would like to share? Go ahead.
Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum.
Oh, go ahead. I'll go after you.
I'm sorry. For the people that have converted to Islam like me, and then you go to sisters to get the knowledge and get used to wearing and covering and all that stuff, they stand and look at you like you are invisible. I want to say something else, but invisible. I'm going to say that. And when you talk to them, instead of them correcting you on the way you dressed or something like that, because I was walking past, I had my head covered, but my arms were out. And then they're going to turn. I gave them the greeting. They never did say anything back. But as I was walking by, they're going to say, where's her covering? Why is she in this? And I started to turn around and ask them, then why didn't you just tell me that instead of just talking about me and walking by? It's a difference in you trying to teach somebody something and you want to just gospel about them.
Yeah, that's the arrogance. And that's what so many of us suffer with. We think that we're superior over others. We want to go around snubbing our ugly noses down at other people, thinking that we're better than them when we're really cockroaches. We're really no better than a cockroach. Something to think about here. Yes, go ahead, Umi Barrow.
Alaikum. Just wanted to say that never underestimate the relationship that someone has with Allah, because you don't know what's going on in their life and you don't know how close they are to their Lord. So we need to be careful of what to say, what we're saying, when we're saying it, and what we're saying about people, because we never know. And the other thing is that we can still enjoy the good and forbid the evil, doing it with kindness, and always put yourself on somebody's shoes, saying, if you were me, how do I want people to talk to me? And how will I want them to teach me? And the other thing that I want to is that instead of um, blaming or pointing finger at people, always learn to pray for people. Like when you pray behind, I mean, for your Muslim brother or sister, that can make more change for them than pointing finger at them or even cursing them when you really don't know the relationship they have with Allah.
Exactly, guys. And a lot of times we ridicule people. People commit sins. And some people just are weak in faith. They believe that there's no redemption. So you're constantly telling a person, you're going to go to hell. You're going to go to hell. You're a bad person. That person will start thinking, well, what's the point? You know, I know what I'm doing is wrong and I want to change, but he's telling me that I'm going to go to hell anyway. So what's the point? I mean, a lot of people, we're all in different levels of faith. And when you're constantly, even with our children, constantly badgering our children, telling your kids, you're no good, you're not going to amount to anything, you're going to go to hell, or there's no hope for you, you're doomed, they'll start believing that. They'll start thinking that and believe that, and they'll just say, well, what's the point? So you never know what's going on in the heart of another person, or what that other person is going through in their personal life, or what thoughts or what even conversations that person may have with his or her Lord. Okay. So we have to be careful to not be arrogant and go around belittling people all the time. And this is something that parents need to understand when raising our children as Muslims here. Okay, go ahead, Sister Meleon.
This hadith reminds me about like how Allah like loves to emphasize character in every single hadith that we have learned so far, and how you approach other people does impact them in either a positive way or a negative way, depending on how you approach them. And it's like to you, it might be like something minor, but to Allah, it's something big. So I think we should be very conscious or like well aware of like what we say to other people. And if a person does tell you, oh, I was hurt because of what you said, acknowledge that you're wrong and take accountability and, you know, change yourself for the better.
Exactly. Let me share an example with you guys. Today, I've received a lot of emails from a lot of the viewers here on social media, on Facebook. You know, and I see all of your comments. Oh, Sister Layla, you look so much better today. Oh, Sister Layla, you look happier today. Yesterday, the same thing. Oh, you look beautiful, Sister Layla. You look more relaxed. You look like you're getting through this. I'm gonna tell you guys, I felt better ever since Friday. Because let me share with you guys what happened to me on Friday. On Friday, one of my students, Shamsa, Shamsa's been coming to this website since she was 13 years old. She's one of Norto Big Mouth's friends. Okay. But I never met I know Big Mouth, you know, but I've never met Shamsa before. She had stopped coming. She listened to me, went to school, got her nursing degree, and she's a nurse and she's married twice, whatever. She wanted, to come see me. She lives in New York, and I'm just a 2-hour drive from her, from New York. She drove all the way from New York just to come give me salams and hug me. And she brought me a big box filled with nice gifts. Of all the gifts she brought me, I wore the beautiful abayas yesterday. That was from her mother and her. But my favorite gift of all was a big mug, a coffee mug she brought me. She know I like my coffee and tea. And it had the words, keep the faith. She had the words, keep the faith, engraved on that mug. That said everything. When I took all the other gifts out, oh, mashallah, thank you, oh God. When I saw that mug, I held it and I just broke down and started crying. The tears just started crying. And she came and she just hugged me and held me. And she said, it's okay. I said, this is what I need, because that's the test. I'm going through the trials of life, the test. This is the biggest test that I've ever had in my life so far. And it's all about keeping and maintaining the faith. Oh my God, I have that cup. That mug is sitting on my table. And right next to it is a plaque she gave me that says, the best teacher ever. So I took the plaque, I put the plaque on my my island, and I have the cup next to it. Keep the faith, best teacher ever. And I've been getting my motivation, my strength just from those words. Keep the faith, because that's what it's all about. Remember, as Muslims, we were created to worship Allah. He put us here to be tested and tried to see if we will put our belief in him above our emotions, above our families, above our problems, above everything. So our life in this world is all about keeping and maintaining that akida, that belief system, that faith. So yes, I've been doing better. I wake up every morning, look at that cup, keep the faith, Layla. It's a reminder. When I feel myself weakening due to the pain or due to the personal anguish of family, keep the faith, Layla. It's a reminder from a law. Keep the faith, Layla. You never know what somebody else is going to. And the way we choose our words, guys, is everything. In this story, here you had the one man constantly badgering, giving the person nothing but negativity, breaking his self-esteem, breaking his confidence. If this brother wanted to change, he made him feel like he couldn't, because he told him, you're doomed. It doesn't matter. You're going to hell. You're never going to paradise. So he broke his spirit. He broke his faith. We have to assure that we're not breaking the faith of one another. Yes, go ahead, Sister Norto.
What this hadith teaches me is, how to approach people in a way I would want others to approach me. When you see someone studying, don't think, oh, I don't understand how one can sin like that, because Allah can put you in a position as such. Maybe, maybe they're going through a trial that's making them weak in their faith, but that faith they have in Allah is much greater. Everyone deals with their trials differently, but only Allah knows, what lies in a person's heart. Instead, we should make dua for one another. And also don't, like, when a person is like, you see a person's like trying to change from before, don't remind them of their past, because many people try to remind people of their past and like, oh, I remember when you used to do this and this. Like, that's not good. Don't remind people of the past sins they used to do when they're striving for the better. Instead, be their support system, be that, like, building block for one another, and encourage them in the good that they do, instead of, thinking badly about them.
Exactly, guys. Wonderful words, Norto. Anyone else would like to share? Go ahead. Oh, God. There's somebody unmute Sabrine.
You probably put me on it.
There you go, Sabrine. Let me put her on here, y'all, so y'all can see too. There. Go ahead, Sabrine.
She muted again.
No, is she back muted? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Keep mine, I'm still
Now you
talking.
go. Go ahead, Sabrine.
Okay. There are a lot of times I have often said I wouldn't want to be responsible for another person not accepting Islam because of something that I said, or the way that I treated them, or because I was arrogant with them. I would feel very bad. I remember once a sister came to me and she told me, she said, she was talking about a particular masjid, and she said, I remember when I first wanted to become Muslim and I went to that masjid, and she said, I didn't know anything about Islam, but I just knew I wanted to be a Muslim. And when I went there, the other sisters, because I wasn't dressed totally the way they were, because I didn't really know too much about Islam or how, hijabs, or I wore a scarf, but still that wasn't good enough for them. And so they kind of wouldn't talk to me, and they kind of snubbed me. And she said, I felt so bad that I left that masjid that day, and I never came back. It didn't stop me from becoming a Muslim, because it's Allah that makes Muslims. And it was Allah that made me want to be a Muslim. And she said, but I never went back there again because of the way that they made me feel. And so that we have to really think about the way we treat each other, and the way, you know, we're not better than anyone. It's Allah knows. Allah knew that this person wanted to be a Muslim. So it was Allah that guided this sister here. And to this day, she's still a Muslim. She never went back there, but she's still a Muslim. So we have to think about that.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Yeah, guys, what a wonderful hadith. And again, we have to be careful. The tongue is like a sword, you know, and it can lash out and cause harm. And once it causes harm, we can't undo it. You know, one of the reasons why the majority of the people of the hellfire will be there is because of failure to control the tongue. Be careful how we talk to others. Be careful how we advise others. You want to give people words of wisdom, words of hope, like Sister Shamsa gave me, words of hope. You don't want to tear people down and cause them to lose hope, lose their belief in themselves, lose their belief in Allah, because you're going to be held accountable just like the good man was. Allah held him accountable for those things he said. And as a result, he ended up in the hellfire. Despite all the good deeds he did, he ended up in hell, and the so-called bad one was in paradise. So thank everybody for joining and participating in this session of our Hadith class. Please make sure you go to atleonline.com and purchase your copy of the book. It's only $8. Pick up your copy today, and make sure everybody is here for our classes tomorrow. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.